The San Francisco 49ers lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, lost Brandon Ayuk, lost Deebo Samuel. Do they have time to fix it all? Me and Steph Sanchez will talk about that right after this. I'm Jason Aponte. That's Steph Sanchez. This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. San Francisco 49ers lose Sunday to the Kansas City Chiefs 28-18 in a tale that's old as time at this point. And again, it's not a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers are getting their ass beat. It's not a rivalry. Like when you fight your big brother and your big brother whips your ass every single time, that's not a rivalry. But Steph, before we get into all that, how are you? Your hair looks amazing.
Thank you. I'm all right. I've seen better days as a Niner fan, right? I'm not big on baseball, Jay. We were just talking about it. I'm rooting for the Yankees suddenly, I got to see them take it home. Yeah, New York just continues to have like a great time, aside from the Jets, of course, and Mets, but
yeah.
I mean, they're on a roll.
The city's on fire. The Liberty have their parade in a few days. The Knicks kick off tonight against the Boston Celtics. And then obviously Friday, the World Series begins in LA. And the Mets had a very good run as well, too. So New York's been doing pretty well. The Rangers are supposedly good. So the city's, they're in good hands right now. But yeah, the Giants and the Jets, they don't want to do it. But this isn't a other sports podcast. It's not a New York sports podcast. It's a 49ers podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday's game was particularly troubling for many reasons. Brock Purdy played his worst game as a professional. The team, again, seemed to be outcoached, outwitted. You get a game where the defense holds Patrick Mahomes to 44-something quarterback rating, 2 turnovers, doesn't throw any touchdowns, and the 49ers lose by 10. The way that I'll describe this season, and I've been describing it all week this same way, is because it's either one or two things. It's either you're in the submarine and there's a leak and you plug the leak, but then another leak pops. And now you're going like this and this. Okay, those two are plugged. Well, here's the third one now, and it's out, and now you got your foot over it. Or it's the car that you've owned for many years. You've done some amazing things. You went on spectacular dates. You've gone on road trips. You've had nothing but good times. But now you got a little money in your pocket. The check engine light comes on. You get rid of the check engine light. The tire goes flat. You fix your tire. Your transmission's broken. You see what I'm getting at here, Steph? This is 2024 San Francisco 49ers football as I see it right now.
Usually, Jay, you hit the nail on the head with those analogies, but I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
I missed this one?
Because what have the 49ers fixed?
Well, all right.
What have they fixed?
What I mean by that is...
Because they won a game. They haven't figured out how to...
No. All right. So what I mean, and I should explain it better. In one game, the offense plays well, and then the defense doesn't. And then the special teams is just trash. In this game, the defense plays well. And then the offense is awful. So that's what I mean, plugging up holes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, like it's in one game you get one phase figured out, and you say, okay, that's good, but then the other phase completely fails.
But that's not figuring it out. Like if you can't be consistent, that's my thing. And that is the tale of this season's San Francisco 49ers, because like everything that they could fix still hasn't been fixed. They're inconsistent. Everything that has been good hasn't been consistently good. And that is why they're where they're at right now. And some things have been consistently just flat out bad, right? Special teams, yes. That's like the main thing that's been bad this whole time. But I'd also say like offense, the red zone offense continues to be terrible, I believe, in like red zone scoring rate. They're 27th. Kansas City got on top of them over the weekend there, thanks to the Niners. And then, I don't know, there's just still so many issues with this team. And now you add on the fact that, they're hurting. There's so many injuries. I was like flabbergasted by the 49ers injury report from Kyle Shanahan yesterday, because it was just blow after blow. It's one thing to lose Brandon Ayuk for the season, and that's big, right? Like, that's already huge, him being out for the year. Then we hear that Deebo Samuel's in the hospital with pneumonia. Then we hear George Kittle has an ankle sprain. Chris Conley's hurt. Jawan Jennings might not play in week 8. Give me a break. Like, man, Lord, stop giving me your toughest battles. And he's like, how are you still alive? Right. That's where we're at right now with the 49ers. And I get it, Jay. We do this like every year, right? It's like, well, they've gone through worse. We could do it again. This one feels different. This one feels just a little different. It's given 2020. It's up there with that. So I don't know. I know we're gonna discuss how we feel about this team going forward, and I can't wait to get your thoughts, but I think you kind of know where I'm leaning.
Right. No, and this isn't hyperbole. Sunday's game against the Dallas Cowboys is the season. After that, if you can't walk away with a win on Sunday, a bye week's not going to do anything. And what's the worst part is watching this game is, even with all the things that you were talking about, no Deebo, no Ayuk, they still weren't a Deebo or an Ayuk away in this game, or Christian McCaffrey. I don't think any of those guys would have helped that team win that game. And primarily, that has to be based on the quarterback play. Brock Purdy flat out was not good. Keith Murphy, thank you for the donation. He says, yes, we can turn it around, but give me a high draft. Are they even good with first-round draft picks? We're going to find out real soon. Ricky Pearsall is back, so let's see. But that was Brock Purdy's worst game, right? I understand. Weapons not being there, I get it completely, 100%. And you're also going up against a very good defense. But the things you could have controlled, the things that were in your power to control, you didn't control. And the throws were erratic, almost from the jump. That like as soon as the game started, I'm like, who is that? When you have to look at the screen while a pass is being thrown and it falls incomplete, and you ask, who was that intended for? Most likely is not a really good pass. So yes, look, you don't got to get off the Brock Purdy ship, but Brock Purdy did not play well. That was his worst game as a professional, hands down. I don't even think it's really close, and I don't think that Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and all those guys being around would have changed much. Now let's think about this too, and let's take it a step further. We talk about the play calling, and at times I don't like it. I still hate the we need 1 yard, let's run the football out of shotgun 4 yards back. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. Kyle Shanahan, I hate that. Write that down. I hate that. Don't do that again. I hate that. But Kyle dials up 2 touchdowns on deep shots. And Brock underthrew both of them. See what I mean about when something works, right? The play call's good. Execution doesn't get it done. And then after the Cowing plays, another interception. See what I mean about, like, okay, we got this figured out. Here, I got a play that's going to design for a touchdown. No, not a touchdown. It's a long completion. And then you end up with a turnover. Again, a day late, $1 short. One thing up, the other thing down. If it's play calling, then it's execution. If it's execution, then if it's the execution of it and it's not in his play calling, it's up and down. This has to be a touchdown. He has so much separation. The ball has to be out in front. He doesn't have to go back for it. The same thing with Jacob Cowan. Jacob Cowan looked like he was fielding a punt on the play. And it's both of these were touchdowns. It's just like those 2 plays right there encapsulate what's going on with the offense, because those were perfect play calls. Those are touchdowns. And then when they don't go that way, and then you end up with nothing, because that interception on the other side of the field that Brock threw before the one with Cowing was absolutely gross. Was insanely gross. And whether you think Ronnie Bell ran the wrong route, or you think, does it make you feel better that a red zone interception can be docked to a wide receiver? Because it doesn't make me feel better. I don't care who it's on. Is it on Ronnie Bell? Is it on Brock? It's on the 49ers. It's an interception in the red zone. I don't feel better when you assign blame to one person for an interception. You know why? Because it's poor execution. However, however you slice it. So if it makes you feel better that you think that Ronnie Bell ran the wrong route, spoiler alert, Kyle Shanahan and Brock said he didn't. If it makes you feel better that you want to, call it on the wide receiver and it makes you feel better, fine. Doesn't make me feel better because the interception is an interception no matter how you slice it and who it's on. Just a bad game from Brock, Steph. I'm sorry.
I mean, for sure, it was a bad game from Brock. And you said it was maybe the worst of his career so far. I feel like we've said that already this year, so that's not good. I mean, and from the execution standpoint, right? Yeah, clearly the 49ers have a problem with executing this season. And when I think about that, though, I'm like, at what point are we going to say like that falls on coaching, right? Like
it always does. And that's another conversation we have to have.
And the thing with that conversation is like, I feel like we always got to tread lightly with it. Cause it's like, if we say something bad about Kyle, we suddenly get lumped into, well, who would we rather have than Kyle Shanahan? Who gives us a best chance? I don't know. I'm not saying fire him. I am just saying that Kyle Shanahan is responsible for this team. And when this team underperforms, I am looking at him. We should all be looking at him. If you aren't yet and you're deflecting and you're looking at other issues that aren't really the main root cause here, which would be Kyle Shanahan, then like, what are we doing? Because that's what we got to be doing at this point, right? And I think what's so frustrating to me about this season is that going into it, we were sold on the idea that this was going to be some last window, some last dance kind of thing, right? That was last season. I'm sorry. You're not going to sell me on that idea again, and people still trying to sell me on that idea right now. Oh, well, the NFC is weak. I get it. Like the NFC, there's some teams that are hurting right now. The Bucks yesterday, oh boy, they're 4-2, but like that could get a lot worse. Who knows what teams
are going to look like? Who knows what teams
exactly.
It's going to be it's going to be the walking wounded, basically the way that this is going.
So yes, that is true, right? But that doesn't make me feel better because the 49ers still look like shit right now too.
Yep.
So like it can't just be, oh, well, like the NFC sucks, so the 49ers have a chance. No. The 49ers have a chance if they turn some things around, if they change some things, if they fix some things. Are they capable of doing that? Right? We're also looking at all these injuries. So the question before was, can this current team do it? Yes, this current team can do it because they've done it before. Okay, now a lot of those same players are hurt. Can you now do it with injuries is now the question, right? And what I want to see, Jay, I need to see like this team get scrappy again. Like I need their identity to be a scrappy team. Like, let's figure this shit out. I need Kyle to get scrappy again, like 2017 vibes, but except you got a good quarterback this time around. Make it work. Like, if you can make it work when, Debo was a rookie and Kittle was a rookie, now you're forced to play some rookies in Pearsall and Cowan. How about you scheme some things up that are tailored to their skill set and not what you've always done for the last few years? Because I'll tell you, like, it's getting tired. Like, teams know what you want to do. They're playing man against you. Brock Purdy struggling against man. These receivers, aside from Brandon Ayuk, most of these receivers have trouble against man, it seems like. So I need Kyle to, like, scheme some shit up.
Yeah.
Look at the Chiefs, right? They're not much better offensively, right? And, I think they're aided by the fact, obviously, they have one of the best quarterbacks of all time, maybe the best quarterback of all time. But, I don't want any excuses anymore, and I think that's where we're at, where it's like, oh, it's just 2020, like everyone's hurt, let's just put it away. A part of me does want to say that, don't get me wrong. But I also don't want the team to just fold. I don't want Kyle to just be like, yeah, we're hurt. So, that's it. He'll never actually say that. But you know what I mean? Like, I just need to see that scrappiness, that creativity. And I just need to see something different. Because, like, now we got these rookies. We've been saying how on the defensive side of the ball, like, having the rookies out there has been nice. Like, they've actually outplayed some of the veterans. that were out there and they're getting more playing time and it's working for them. Why can't it work for the offense too? Right.
Right.
So that's where I'm at. It's like I'm ready to turn some pages. I'm not ready to close the book, right? But like I'm ready to turn some pages and let's see what we got. Right. I need Kyle to just, I don't know, just start to get creative again and change some things up.
Yeah, and what I realized most out of this game is that there's levels to this shit. The Kansas City Chiefs can have everything going against them, but they'll find a way to win. If anything goes against the 49ers, they cannot win. There's levels to this shit, right? And obviously, you said it, the Mahomes thing, right? But Mahomes is losing guys left and right. Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce's washed and cooked. Juju Smith-Schuster leaves his game. Xavier Worthy doesn't know how to run a route. No Isaiah Pacheco. Kareem Hunt throwback game. But there's levels to this shit because of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They still look terrible on offense. They're 6-0. 6-0. Like, you don't need everything to go right for you to walk away with a win. Unfortunately, the 49ers need everything in their favor going right, because when things don't go right and you're hit with a little adversity, that's where this team folds right now. Keith Murphy says both teams' seasons on the line with this game. If they lose to our practice squad, Dallas should fold their 10 as well. I'm still confident the 49ers are going to find a way to win, but this is going to be my question. And everything that you said, Steph, is completely valid when it comes to Kyle, because no, we don't want him fired, but yes, you've got to be able to be accountable, right? They don't ask Nick Sorensen to go to the podium 5 times a week. They ask you. Why? Because you're the head coach. So when things aren't executing, when things are not going well, you've got to stand there, and you're responsible for fixing it. Mm-hmm. So when it's funny, because when the team turns these things around, right, you look at like Kyle is so steady and look at how he turned things around. But now we can't ask questions when things are awry right now to Kyle. That's crazy to me. That's really crazy to me. And you know me, I'm a huge Kyle supporter. But if you want to give him all of the rightful kudos that he deserves for culture that he's built, being able to keep this team, that's absolutely true. But you also have to look straight at him and say, who else are we supposed to ask to fix this? It's you, the head coach. When the team wins, you get everything. When the team loses, you get everything. That's what the head coach is. Same thing with the starting quarterback. But right now, let's play devil's advocate. Sunday, no Juwan Jennings, no Deebo Samuel, obviously no Brandon Ayuk. Your starting receivers, Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Ronnie Bell. When you look at this, it's obvious that whatever's going on with Deebo, I'm not going to speculate on that because I feel like people have already embarrassed themselves with the way that they spoke about Deebo Samuel. So, if you're one of those people, I'm not going to call you out because I don't know who you are, but you know who you are. You embarrassed yourself. Brandon Ayuk played in 50 of 51 possible games the last 3 years. The only game that he missed was week 18 against the Rams because it was a rest game. Now out for the season with a Navarro Bowman injury, which means he'll come back. He'll come back. But at what level? That's a question we have to ask. And I hate to say it. I hope you heal up, man. But when you hear all that, it felt like every report after with Ayuk was worse and worse. ACL, MCL, and now more. Now, Juwan Jennings might not play in this game. Would John Lynch explore the wide receiver market? And there's levels to the wide receiver market as well, too. You kind of just need guys who can play. You don't need super studs, right? What I mean is you're down to your last 4 receivers. Possibly it won't be for long term. I'm not going to speculate on what's going on with Deebo. But I've got a few names. Deontay Johnson from Carolina is an X receiver who can get himself open. Darius Slayton is somebody who might be able to be out there as well, too. And then Dante Whitner today talked about DeAndre Hopkins. Steph, do you explore the wide receiver room not to replace anyone, but to make yourself more solid because you're running out of guys? everyone wants to see Pearsall and Cowan play. Oh, they'll play.
Yeah, like don't worry about
they'll
that.
Play. Oh, they're gonna play.
I think
then
people
you're starting 4 receivers. You got like 4 guys that can run routes. That's crazy.
People more worried about Ronnie Bell being out there than I think Cowan and Pearsall.
I love it. Look, why trade for a wide receiver? We drafted one in the 1st and the 4th. You did. Yeah. They're going to be the only ones playing soon. Don't you need more wide receivers? Don't you need more than 3? Because what are we down to?
You about to see Trent Taylor active for
No, we're not. No, the fuck we're not. No, we're not. Keith Murphy says,
hey, you're gonna like it, pal.
I am not gonna. I'm gonna hate watch. Another thing I noticed is Spags was so bad as a head coach. Reed gets to keep him. Do you guys think turnover at the coaching is hurting our building? Hurt us? I don't think so.
I think defensively it has. Like last season, yes, absolutely, right. Like you got to bring someone else in. That person you bring in, doesn't cut it. One can argue, had there been better defensive coaching, maybe 49ers could win the Super Bowl. I don't know. One can make that argument. I'm just saying. But anyway, to like, I guess piggyback on your question, Jay, on should the 49ers trade for a receiver? Are we sure that they're even a receiver trade away?
No.
So what's the point?
Well, the thing is this, Steph, is now you might be putting Brock Purdy in a position where you're not helping him based on like everyone wants to see, but what if Pearsall and Cowan can't spring themselves open? And now Brock is struggling, and now you're going to put Brock through a bunch of games in a row.
Jay, then that's your answer on Brock. Like if this is what we need to go through, like to get that. I'm sorry. I mean, the 49ers have to make a decision on so many things right now.
Right.
And if Brock with lesser talent can't get the job done, we have an issue. You can't because earlier this season, we're talking about, Brock's going to be the next highest paid quarterback, 60+ million. Is he deserving of that if with a lesser receiving core, like he can't make it work? Because if the 49ers are going to be strapped for cash after signing him to a big deal, guess what? Those are the type of receivers you're going to be stuck with. So I don't know. I don't know if I would make any trade for a receiver. If the 49ers aren't one player away from being Super Bowl contenders, what's even the point? At that point, you might as well start turning the page to next season. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at with this team.
The only thing I'll push back on is everyone cries for Josh Allen not having any weapons. Everyone's crying for Patrick Mahomes right now and no weapons. Everybody needs something. Brock, if Mahomes right now is just winning games because they run the ball and the defense is playing well, basically he's a game manager right now. But he manages the game so well that he's able to make enough plays. Josh Allen, they had to trade for Amari Cooper because they were crying out there about Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. And I don't think that it's a fair assessment to say, hey, if we're going to give you 60 M's, you got to lift us no matter who's out there. He can't be throwing the mailmen and bus drivers. He still needs help. And I think there's a possibility to stunt whatever growth. Brock Purdy's still, 24 years old? 25, 24, 25, something like that? You can still stunt his growth with not giving him anything and then leaving him out there to sink or swim. I just think that that's the part where I feel like it doesn't have to be – you're not trading for an upper echelon wide receiver. It's not going to happen, right? All those, fine. But it has to be people that can at least get themselves open just a little bit because this team was already having those issues before. So, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how long Debo's going to be out, right? Obviously, what he's dealing with this series. Juwan Jennings, he might miss this week. He might not. At least we know he'd be available for sure after the bye week, right? So can't you live with that? Can't you live with Juwan Jennings, George Kittle, Debo? If he can't, that's an issue. Because you're saying Patrick Mahomes Josh Allen, those guys don't have anyone. Sure, their fans are mad, but those teams are 6-0 and 5-2 respectively. So like they're making it work. And we're talking about elite quarterbacks there, right? Like which I don't think like Purdy's not there. But I think that's my point. It's like, are we going to have to continue to give like Purdy like this crazy roster for him to be able to roster. That's what I'm saying. Like it's he should be able to make it work with what they have now, even with the injuries.
And the scenario that I threw out to you was doom and gloom that Juwan Jennings isn't going to play, right? So and we don't know that, right? Like I was just throwing the scenario out there that you could be starting Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall, Chris Conley might not even make this game. That means you're going to get Ronnie Bell. That's tough for anybody. And look, we have high hopes for Pearsall and Cowing, but not in a expanded role to the point where they've got to be on the field every single down. I think that's sure they'll get their reps. They're going to get their development. But in the interest of winning games and winning this must-win game, because yes, it's a must-win game against the Dallas Cowboys. You've got to win an NFC opponent. You need guys that you can trust. And if you can't even go to Chris Conley because he's injured too, man, this roster of receivers that we thought was so deep has now become so incredibly thin, and now we're wishing on development right away. Could happen, 100%. And Kyle showed signs of it in the Chiefs game. He threw Cowing a tunnel screen. He got him open on the deep. Like, good. Like, yes. Yes. So, yes, what does this fall on? Does it fall on what the 49ers have stocked in the cupboard? For sure. But what does it fall on? The coach scheming, finding ways to get guys open. If guys are having trouble getting open on man, switch release or motion or jumbo stacks or stack them and move them and bring releases different. There's different ways to skin a cat. So this can't just be I'm leaving guys out there to run and just hoping that they get open.
Right.
Some of this is what's in the cupboard. The cupboard's bare. Some of this is I expect you to put those guys in position even when the cupboard's not bare. So it goes back to what we're talking about with Kyle. I mean, look at Mike McDaniels' offense right now. I mean, Tua's coming back, but that offense is a joke. Nothing. I mean, Tyreek Hill's been largely just taken out of games. So it's everything is complimentary. And the 49ers have not been complimentary for 60 minutes in one game this entire season. Not in one game. And again, the cupboard could be bare, but it's on the play caller to get guys wide open, man.
Yeah, and that's true too. So I'm with you, Jay, that this week could get real ugly from the standpoint of what receivers are going to be available for the 49ers. But even if you trade for a receiver, like he's not going to play this week. So the rest of Debo, Juwan Jennings would be back.
Let's say this. The trade deadline is November 5th. Election day. It's going to be a crazy day that day.
Yikes.
But the Niners are off. And so much of what their thought process will be is whether they win this game on Sunday. So Sunday's your turning point. Sunday is your turning point. If you don't win that game, don't trade for anybody. Let's just see what everybody's got then. If you win that game and you feel like we have a chance to get Greenlaw, McCaffrey back, possibly Feliciano to get into the offensive line, and we can add someone else, that's the decision they have to make. And that's what the bye week will be.
I'm fine with that. Fine with that. I think, I think we've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, right? Like these next couple of weeks, not just for the Niners, but for every team that's kind of like, fringing right now. These next couple of weeks are your information gathering period of, okay, should we be buyers or sellers? Or what are we going to do? What are we going to trade for? Just a week ago or so, we were talking about the 49ers traded for like defensive players. Now, I don't even see that being a need really, right? That's crazy to say. So things can change quickly in the NFL as we know. And the 49ers finding out real quick. So as of right now, I think we're going to wait another week before we make any sweeping proclamations about this team, whether or not you're leaning towards the positive or the not so positive side. I think, that is the way to go. And that's how the 49ers are going to play it. But man, I mean, They're down bad. They're down bad, Jay. I don't even know how else to say it. And yeah, I think that's when it has to fall on Kyle the most, because it's like, okay, we really need you now. Like we really need you now to get some things going. Things have to improve, like just from the granular level. Red zone trips, third down, still atrocious on third downs. Like you have to find a way to make it work. And yeah, it could get better after the bye week with some of those guys coming back. One question I've seen, right? We're talking about Christian McCaffrey being back after the bye week. If the 49ers lose that game against the Cowboys, do you even like bring him back at all? Like, why would you, right? If you kind of feel like the season is lost at that point, why would you risk Christian McCaffrey? The unthinkable, right? We don't even want to mention it, but we know it could get real ugly for him too. So, like, is that even worth the risk?
We got to go on the vibes, right? Like let's say there's a world, right? Let's say there's this world, right, where the San Francisco 49ers go in on Sunday and they do what they normally do with the Dallas Cowboys and blitz them and run them out the building, as they usually do at Levi's, right? Regardless of the personnel who's there, let's say. Then you have your bye week. And now you're facing a Tampa Bay team that possibly could be without Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's out for the year. That's done, you know. Now you're looking at their situation. You start to get further and further down the line, and you start to look at other team situations. Like, we're not relying on injuries. This is the 2024 NFL. It's sink or swim. It's kill or be killed, because people are dropping like flies everywhere. It's quarterbacks, it's running backs, it's defensive ends, it's linebackers, it's corners, it's coaches. Everyone is going to be in a different shape. The thing is, the number one seed's completely out of reach for the 49ers. Like, not even close. Like, never going to happen. Detroit looks like the class of this NFC. Minnesota's very good as well, too. But does this team have the fortitude to say, we are going to have to go on the road every single time and claw our way, wild card, this, that, everything, to do that again on the year when you had the week off, you were home field advantage, number one seed? Do they have that in them? I would say they do, but I'm not betting on that, because that is a tall order. And there's a lot of things right now going on with this team that just feel like you hear certain people say the right things about, well, it's a long season, and we've been here before, and you can hear the defeat in some other people's voices. So that's the part, is the 49ers' path now to not only making the playoffs is just you're going to have to beat a bunch of playoff teams like the entire rest of the way. And you're going to have those annoying divisional games also that are going to pop up. Hello, Seattle. Hello, Rams. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, those games are going to be annoying as well, too. But the path now is not only you having to basically win almost every game in the regular season and then having to do it again in the postseason. Yeah, man. It's possible, but I don't feel great about that shit.
I am saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know that we're like, we got to wait and see, but I think we know what's ahead is so much tougher than what they've gone through in the past, given the injuries, given the schedule. That I'll just say this. It's like, we know this team has to be Super Bowl or bust, right? Like, that's where this team needs to be. So if you're not competing for a Super Bowl, which quite frankly, this team does not look like a Super Bowl contending team, it's putting it lightly, then like, what's the point? I mean, yeah, you can still win the division. Like, the 49ers could do that.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. We've done that before.
We do not care.
This team needs to have bigger goals than just winning the division, right? Like, we can't just try our best and be okay with winning the division. Like, yes, that's still in the realm of possibility, sure, but that's not going to make me feel any better about this team. So my thing is, you're either competing for a Super Bowl or you need to tear some things down. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Because if you're in between and you're still fighting for that in between, oh, it could be a wild card team. Oh, like we can get eliminated in divisional round. Woohoo. Like if that's what you're fighting for, all you're doing is hurting your future. That's all you're doing. So like that's where I'm at with this team. And I'm
Steph, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at your take. I'm laughing because you made me laugh. Like legit. Like I don't care if we win the division. I still think the 49ers are going to be in the NFC playoffs. Given the landscape.
That's cool.
I know. So look, all right. This is a moment for 49er fans, one way or another. In the back of your mind, you have to feel like, yeah, we know the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. But are you the 49er fan who says we're one and done making the playoffs? Or we are the team that nobody wants to play and we're at it? Like this right here, this moment, this team, this season has literally put people in a bind of relying on history, which is a good indicator of the future, to give them hopium, or doom and gloom. I don't see it. I can't see it. That's the difference. And I think the reason that 49er fans feel like this is last season was a dream season. Dream. Literally, you just lost 3 games in the middle of the season. And you literally rolled everybody. And then you have 2 straight comeback victories in the postseason before you get to the Super Bowl. And you're like, this is it. Like, we're good here. And then you lose that game, and then you realize you have to try to do it all again. And you realize that the circumstances could have never been better than they were last season. Everyone knows that. It's not some grand proclamation. But this right here is the turning point. We said, hey, gut punch, they got to wake up. All right. Gut punch, kick in the groin, punch in the back of the head. That's what that game felt like. And this is where you are now. How do you respond? And we're going to find out.
Hopium versus copium.
Hopium and copium, 100%. If you're not beating KC and Baltimore, rebuild to beat them. I don't know if anybody's going to beat Baltimore. My goodness, Lamar Jackson's playing the best football of his career somehow, and he's already won 2 MVPs. Oh, my God. The man has learned how to pre-diagnose defenses now, move people to the right spot. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
He's a cheat code.
Well, Jason, if history has taught us anything at all, it's everything comes to an end. That historical fact is longer than the Niners' 5-year run. Corey's not wrong. He's not wrong. What is it? Smile? Smile because it happened, not smile because it's over.
The Sabrina Carpenter song.
That's gonna be the 2024 motto. I thought the 2024 motto was all right, man. Because every time something pops up, I'm just like, all right, man. Like what else now?
Yeah, you brought that out a few times.
Yeah, all right.
It's like, what else? What else is there?
All right, man's back is tired of carrying this season because it's literally everything's all right, man. All right, man. All right, man. But look, going into this game, this is a must win against the Dallas Cowboys. That's it. And I think I don't like talking about in the fashion of how you beat teams, like evaluating a win. A win is a win is a win is a win in the NFL, right? This isn't college football, right? Like you don't rise up the ranks or you don't like lose because you just beat up on a D3 team. No, wins are wins. But I think the fashion in which the 49ers beat the Cowboys will go a long way into dictating how they feel about what's going on in the building and what they can do in terms of the trade deadline. Like if they go out there, regardless of who the personnel is, and they blitz the Cowboys, I wouldn't say we're back because I have the personal opinion. I think the Dallas Cowboys are trash, and I don't think anybody would argue with me about that. But I think if they go out there and do that, then maybe they have a little bit more of an incentive in the bye week to at least sniff around and take a look and see what this is, right? Like, so yeah, that's kind of I don't like being like, well, they beat them barely. I'd rather almost lose than almost win. So I don't care how you get it done. Find a way to win.
They have not curb stomped a team yet.
Yeah. So if if you see something different this week, if you see something different from this team and they've completely like flipped the switch and they're destroying Dallas and Dak looks helpless and whatever, then maybe, you decide that. But I think the fashion in which they dispatched the Dallas Cowboys, because yes, spoiler alert, I'm going to pick them to beat the Dallas Cowboys. On my mama, on my hood, they're never going to be a day that I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm scared of the Dallas Cowboys. Kiss my ass. I don't care. Kansas City and Dallas,
like
y'all
that
not the
LeBron,
same.
gif.
Oh, here comes Dallas off a bye week. Mike McCarthy off a bye week. Come on. But if they dispatch them in the right way, then that'll dictate, I think, a lot of what they think about when they go forward.
Yes, I'm predicting that they'll beat the Cowboys too, because much like the 49ers are owned by the Chiefs, the 49ers do own the Cowboys. So even with both teams hurting, I think the 49ers always have the edge against the Cowboys. They got some real issues if they can't get over the Cowboys, I'll tell you that. But Jay, my thing is, I don't know if I'm using this game as a measuring stick for this team, because one, I'm expecting them to win. Two, I'm expecting them to win partially also because they need to win, right?
Uh-huh.
And in other instances where they have needed to win, they have gotten it done, but it's always been against bad teams. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready to call the Seahawks a good team. That's probably the best team they've beaten so far this season.
Respect the
Patriots.
Patriots.
They're not even really a good team.
Respect the Patriots.
Respect the Patriots, pal. Hey, I'll just say this. If it was Drake May, I don't know. That game could have gone differently. I don't know. But anyway, so my opinion on this team isn't going to move very much by this Cowboys game, whether they curb stomp them or not. Uh-huh. Because I need to stop being gaslit by this team, because after every win, it's like, oh yeah, cool, we back. They just got a few more things to fix, but they got the win. That's what matters. They just need to stack their wins now, and then they lose it next week. That's what we can't have that. We can't have that. So
Corey's right about this though. If there was ever a time that Dallas can get one up on us, it's this game. That's
absolutely true.
That's troubling. It will send me into a spiral. A spiral.
Jay might disappear for Twitter.
No, I'm not gonna disappear. I'm gonna get in front of the camera and yell and curse, and that will send me into an absolute spiral. I've never needed a win more than this one, based on the opponent, based on the situation. There's no way that this 49ers team can go out there. The Dallas Cowboys have been getting blitzed by everyone. If you don't go out there and handle business this week, oh, baby, I am not going to hold back. I'm not going to hold back, man. This team is not good, the Dallas Cowboys. And not only are they not good on offense, they're not good on defense, they're not good on special teams. They haven't even had glimpses. They haven't even had glimpses of, at least we can say, and again, this might be hopium, copium, whatever it is. We've seen glimpses. We're like, oh, the defense played good this week. Oh, the offense played good that week. They haven't had one of those games yet. That's
what I'm saying. If they lose that game somehow, we got bigger problems. But I'm not ready to, again, make any proclamations about the 49ers if they win that game. They need to get it done. It's no,
if they win, we're so back. Steph, stop it.
That's all we need to do, right? Every season, it's we just need to play the Cowboys.
And we get the Cowboys, we get our get-right game. We smash them on Sunday Night Football, and then we're just plan the parade, baby. We're so back. Look. Regardless of how this season goes, I need this game. Yeah. I need this game.
Yeah.
We need this game. There's no way that iteration of the Dallas Cowboys team, regardless of the personnel that you're about to throw out there, you have to win this game. This is must win, all on the line, everything. Whatever it is, and it doesn't matter the personnel either. I don't want to hear it. They're down Brandon Cooks. They're down Lawrence. Michael Parsons is trying to play in this game. Fine. He hasn't really done things in those games. Trevon Diggs is back. Fine. But that defense looks largely inept, and they've been getting their ass beat by everybody and anybody. The New Orleans Saints went in there and dropped 40 on them, and they haven't been able to, obviously Derek Carr's hurt, but they weren't able to do anything with that after. The Lions are good. They whip their ass. But every time the Dallas Cowboys get lined up against somebody, they get boat raced. So now you have to look at yourself, and we've talked about this, because the Rams and the Cardinals, they're missing all these people. That's fine. Those are divisional opponents that are always going to be annoying based on personnel. This one is a team that very similar to how the Kansas City Chiefs own the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers own the Dallas Cowboys, and they have to continue that. You have to find a way, even if things are not going right, to win this game because you own them. If you don't, then you don't own them the way that the Chiefs own us.
And I'm sure the 49ers, once again, will be getting questions about this being a must-win game and all that. And I don't want to hear
Go for it.
It's not technically a must-win game, so don't really like to say that. But Kyle did the same thing. John Lynch did the same thing. I don't care. It's a must-win game because you won't make the playoffs at all. You'll be sitting on your damn couch. That's why we say it's a must-win game, because if you lose this one, you're in deep shit. Not because you might go home. You will stay home. That's why we call it a must-win game.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me do Kyle. All right.
Yeah.
Well, every game is, we prepare the same. We put the game plan together, but it's not one thing over the other. You don't want to overcomplicate things. You set the game plan and you go for it, and that's what it is. We have a lot of confidence in the guys in that locker room, and we've been here before, and again, I think it just boils down to execution, and it's less about that than it is anything. But I wouldn't call it a must-win game. I would say that we just have to get back to playing 49ers football.
Oh my God! Like, I don't want to hear it. Yeah. That sounds like a hedge. Like, in case they lose, it's like.
I want them to grab the mic and be like, I'm fucking freaking out, man. I am not having a good time at all. Actually, I don't care what happened. I don't feel good right now. Like, say that. I would be like, you know what? That's real. That's honest.
We really need a Kyle and Nick segment to this show going forward.
Yeah, no, we do. Yeah. And I gotta refine my Kyle. Like, I've got the tone, but I don't have the cadence. That's what I like. I don't have the cadence. Yeah. Yeah. And it's the deep inhales and it's just like, it's those pauses. Like Kyle's mind works when he says and he says it's him. It's him.
Wheels are turning.
Yeah, it's him putting the next statement right in front of him. And he knows exactly. I'm glad we're laughing because I was not laughing at all. Like, I just again.
Oh man, no, we were both yelling in this one.
Yeah, well, at least in this one too. Like we have the job of doing this on Tuesday, right? So we are on the cusp of having to review the game and then turning the page because like that. Like, so we're talking about what this game needs to be on Sunday, but we're still sitting here talking about Sunday's game because it's still Tuesday. And that's the hard part, is to be able to put everything all together while we're trying to cover everything. But bottom line, this is a must-win game. And I don't mean to reiterate it or repeat myself. Like, this is a must-win game. The 49ers, if they don't win this game, don't trade for anybody. Just go with the flow, and let's just at this point, we'll see what happens.
Go off the vibes. The vibes will bring us home.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. All right, guys. Almost 50 minutes in. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video on the Gold Standard Podcast Network YouTube section. Make sure you subscribe to the Gold Standard Podcast Network wherever you get your audio podcasts. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K, and subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's got some great content over there as well, too. Follow me on Twitter at JasonAponte2103. I've got a YouTube channel as well, too. Thank you guys for tapping in. And as always, let's go Niners.
Peace.